Welcome back to Joe Stunner Boxing. A little bit of breaking news. Chris EUBANK Jr. has apparently been fined $100,000 for the egg slap incident. You've no doubt seen it, but if you've been living under a rock, there was a face-off between him and Conor Benn, and EUBANK Jr. slapped an egg across side of Conor's face, shoved him, and then it all kicked off. All the fun of the fair. And people have said, well, this shell could have gone in Conor's eye. It could have resulted in a fight being cancelled. It could have cut Conor. It could, the Robert Smith, the Secretary of the British Boxing Board of Control, said it's not the egg that bothers us. It bothers us. It's the fact that he put his hands on Conor. That's the problem. So the fine, it's being reported, is $100,000. Now, what do you think of this? Because to me, if you have any kind of if you make a moral point, and that's essentially what this is. The board are making a moral point here. You cannot do this. $100,000 fine. Does this, is there any consistency there? Because a moral point without any kind of consistency, in other words, when it's applied to everyone, ceases to have any worth. You end up with double standards. I can't remember offhand what the punishment was for the David Haye, Derek Chisora brawl. I believe they had their licenses suspended, and their fight subsequently was done under the auspices of was it a Luxembourg license or something like that. And then they had their licenses reinstated. I can't remember whether they were fined. I think they were fined. I can't remember the amount. But it isn't just physicality that it should warrant fines. I mean, Chris EUBANK Jr. could turn around and say, "You're fining me $100,000, okay? What have you fined Conor Benn for failing 2 drug tests?" He could say that. He could make that. He could make that argument. Because by coming in juiced up, he would have been endangering my life. Plus the fact, of course, EUBANK for that particular fight had stupidly signed a contract saying he'd come in at 157, ludicrously low for a man of that size. But and by the way, I don't have any egg in this race, egg and spoon race. I don't have any dog in the race, or whatever you want to call it, because I don't particularly like EUBANK or Benn, Chris EUBANK Jr. or Conor Benn. I don't think Conor Benn's that bright, and I think he's a little bit immature, and I think Chris EUBANK Jr. is just another one of these bling guys who thinks wearing a fancy Louis Vuitton jacket somehow gives you some sort of gravitas. It's that sort of Mayweather mentality, which I think is pathetic, rather childish. But I do think $100,000 is, if you're going to start throwing those sort of fines around, there has to be some sort of consistency. And I would hope that anyone who does anything similar Robert Smith himself has said it's not the egg, it's the putting of the hands on the opponent, slapping him. Well, we've seen God knows how many instances of that. Are they all going to get $100,000 fines? And what about other things like failed PED tests? Do they get fined for that? So all of these moral questions in a sport which is decidedly, I don't mean the sport itself, I mean the politics that surround it and the people involved, is very immoral, or certainly has a history of being so. All of this is a little bit questionable to me. I mean, I've only heard this report 5 minutes ago, so I've only read it 5 minutes ago, so I'm not really sure. exactly what I think. But it's interesting that, 100 grand, he could afford it, can't he, old EUBANK? He probably, I think he'd be more concerned about the reported £500,000 per pound that will be penalised if he comes in overweight. That's probably more of an excuse to him. The 100 grand is like, well, I enjoyed putting my hands on him and making a prick of him, and he's had it come in, so that's 100 grand well spent. But I don't know. Anyway, what do you think of this? Leave your comments below. Let me know your opinions. You know what I'm going to say now, don't you? Subscribe to the channel if you're new. Hit the like button and spread the word about Joe Stunner Boxing. I always appreciate your time. I'm looking forward to reading your comments. Ladies and gentlemen, thank you very much. Enjoy the rest of your evening, and I'll speak to you soon. Bye for now.